Right, so it's been around about 12 months now since we seeded this lawn from scratch, in a similar time from when we actually turfed the lawn up at the top. And in this video I want to talk about the pros and cons of having a Fescue lawn and my sort of overall thoughts as to what I think of this grass now that I've been managing it for around about a year. Now, it's not going to come as a surprise to anyone who's been on this channel for a while, but I'm a massive fan of this type of grass, and learning about it over the past 12 months has made me realise sort of how easy lawn care can be. The biggest pro this type of grass has is the fact that it's not very demanding. Compared to ryegrass, for me, it's a complete and utter night and day difference, and that goes for a lot of different things. I've noticed that when I feed this lawn, it reacts in a bit of a different way to ryegrass, but I guess in a bit of a similar way too. When you feed any plant, the idea is to get it to grow more, and with this kind of lawn and this kind of species, when you feed it, most of your growth is lateral as opposed to vertical. If you think about ryegrass, when you feed the plant, it puts all of its energy into pushing that plant upwards. Now, that can be quite beneficial to some people because if it grows really tall, you can get on with your mower and it can give you a nice stripe, but then give it a little bit of time, it stands back up and that vertical growth starts again. Whereas a plant like this, when you feed it, you get some vertical growth, but most of it is growing sideways, and that's what's going to help you to get a really dense, thick sward without having to overseed. Now, don't get me wrong, we do have some patches in the lawn and I will speak about them a little bit later in the video, but if we just get in right over the top of the sward, I always say on this channel, the test of a quality lawn is to get right in over the top and you get the true reflection of how dense it actually is. If I just walk around the lawn, yeah, there's a few patches, we'll talk about them, but anywhere where I've not removed a bit of weed grass, you can see there's a really, really nice density to it. And to achieve this with other grass species, you have to chuck seed down, but with this, because it's all growing sideways, it tends to fill in a lot of those spaces and creates a really tight canopy. And because of the way it grows, that just means that you don't really need to cut your lawn that often. We went on holiday last summer at I think it was like the start of August, maybe the back end of July, and we were away for around about 5 nights. And what I noticed is that when we got back, I was expecting the lawn to be a jungle, and out at the front it was really tall. It had grown quite a few inches just in those short few days, whereas the lawns in the back hadn't grown a lot. Now, I shouldn't really say that. They had grown a fair bit. They'd grown that way. They just hadn't grown upwards, which just means that if you leave your lawn for a few days, a week or so, it doesn't start to become unsightly. It still looks fairly manicured and taken care of. And I mentioned stripes before with ryegrass. Obviously, the taller your grass is, when you go over with your rear roller on your mower, it's going to flatten it and give you a nice defined stripe. But you can see this lawn now has some really lovely stripes. This was cut 2 days ago and those stripes have lasted, and with the position of the sun now, they're not popping massively on this side, but as the sun moves over to the far side in the evening, these stripes pop. And if you go over to my Instagram, Novice Gardener YT, you'll see pictures of how this looks, and I can cut this lawn and like 4, 5, 6 days later still have some really decent stripes. Now, I know some people prefer the aesthetic of a ryegrass lawn, how it bounces back up and then you restripe it again, but there's something really satisfying about kind of burning in a stripe and having that lasting just like more than 1 day. Now, this lawn is the turf lawn, and if you get in right over the top, I mean, firstly, it looks incredible, but you'll notice that a lot of the grass is kind of lying sideways, and again, it's that lateral growth, but it's almost the beauty of the plant because it starts to fill itself in. And something that I see online is people saying that, well, with a lawn like this, because of the vertical growth, you have to verticut it all the time. I've verticut this space once since it was laid as turf, and I probably will only be doing something similar again, maybe in back end of the summer. And if anything, it'll be more of a scarified than a vertical, even though they are still quite similar processes. But how I have actually dealt with some of that lateral growth recently is the fact that I've just cut against the grain, I've cut against the normal stripe pattern. Yeah, by bending your stripes and cutting in one direction, you're training the grass to grow this way, but if you go against it, you'll stand all those plants back up, you'll nick them, and they get a much nicer sward as a result. And I'd argue that possibly the best thing about this lawn, I mean, maybe not the best, because there's a lot of things I think are boss about it, but it's the fact that weeds don't have a chance. You got to think of this space as a bit of an arena for plants, and ideally people who are into lawn care want the lawn to be, you know, the dominant plant and to outcompete the rest of the others. And with ryegrass, you can kind of leave spaces for weed grasses to take hold, whereas a lawn with this variety reduces the likelihood of any weed grasses or any weeds from getting a foothold. If I just bring it in now right over the top of the sward, let's just play a little game of spot the weed. There's going to be a fella, isn't there, in the comments who goes, I saw one, I saw a singular leaf. Did you? Did you really? Did you really see a singular leaf? You might see a bit of power, you might see the odd little bit of weed grass, because weed seeds can be dormant within our soils for a long time until they've got the opportunity to germinate and take hold, but there's absolutely none. Now, this is the only space where weeds might take advantage and try and take hold, and you can see there's a little fella and his mate here, and I can pull those now. Let's just get rid of them, pull those out and deal with them. But that's because this place is quite thin, but this space doesn't allow anything else to have a chance. And that's where some people who have watched my videos for, you know, the past few months might say, well, if you're saying it prevents you from getting a lot of weeds and weed grasses, then why was this lawn pretty much riddled with weed grasses a few months ago? You know, if I pan across this one, you'll see that there's absolutely no weeds in certain spaces, but all these patches are where we removed all of those wheatgrass plants, and we're experimenting this year. We're seeing if they fill themselves in. Some of them have had a little bit of seeding, and we have had some nice germination in spaces, and they're going to fill in over time. I was going to see if these ones kind of can do it themselves first, but again, we'll come back to it. Why on earth could the wheatgrasses thrive if the plant is so dominant? And the reason goes back to last September, when I actually did a full renovation on this space. I verticut this lawn for the first time last September, and what that scarification or that verticutting did to the lawn was leave it exposed to weeds and weed seeds. The Lawn Association put a really cracking video on their Instagram not too long ago, and it basically spoke about this, about how when you've got a ryegrass lawn, you kind of have to renovate it once, possibly twice a year, and every time you get on with that scarifier and get really aggressive on the lawn and cut into the soil, by thinning the sward out, you're giving them a chance to really take hold. And when I verticut this lawn last year, that's exactly what I did, and I left spaces for those weed plants to germinate, and then this year they've kind of taken advantage, and that's why I've had to remove quite a few of them. However, now that things have started to thicken up, we can get right down into the sward, and you won't see any of those wheatgrass plants. There might be the odd one, and once a week I do a bit of a sweep of this lawn and remove any of the odd ones that I see, but I'm noticing week on week I'm seeing less and less. But it's a problem of my own making. I did the exact same process to this lawn, but we didn't even have nearly a fraction of the wheatgrass plants that we had down here. And I think part of that is that this was laid as turf, and turf has always been much more established than when you seed your lawn yourself. That might be 6 months old by the time you lay it. It might be a year old, 2-3 years old, you don't know. Whereas you know exactly how old this is. And a lawn that's seeded can take quite a few years to fully mature and start to improve your soil. And I know ryegrass is advertised as being hard wearing, but I've noticed no difference between this and having a ryegrass lawn. The dog still runs around on it. I'm walking on it now. I know it's not a lot of wear and tear, and we don't have kids, so maybe in time we'll notice a difference there, but I don't really see that, you know, when I walk on it or when the dog uses it, that it's any more worn than a ryegrass lawn would be. I think sometimes people look at the name on a bag of grass seed and it says hardware and mix and think that, well, you can play footy on it, it's fine. And then they see something that says like a luxury mix and just thinks it's a lawn that if you step on it once, you're going to kill half the grass plants and it's not going to survive for the next year. It's absolute nonsense. I mean, any plants, if I start stomping on these fellas over there, they're going to struggle. But you know, you limit the amount of time that you're on your lawn as best as you can, and you're going to end up with a half decent space regardless of the seed. So this being less hard wearing than another grass seed, in my personal opinion and from what I've noticed this year, I don't really think there's a difference. Now there are cons like there would be with any grass type, and I think with this, you know, it is a bit of a lighter shade of green compared to ryegrass, but it's not been as stark as I thought. You know, people online make out as if this is like lime green and ryegrass is like the darkest green you've ever seen. I use a colourant on this once a month, or I will be putting it on once a month this year, and that turns the grass a really lovely dark shade of green, and I'm happy with the way it looks. If you had a ryegrass lawn and a bent fescue lawn side by side, you'd probably notice the difference, but because I've got two bent fescue lawns, it's not really a thing that I notice. So if you are concerned about the colour, I wouldn't. And really, this lawn isn't for Instagram or for YouTube. To an extent, you know, I make the videos for this channel, but this is a lawn for us, and as long as we're happy with it, then happy days. That's all that really matters. But other than that, are there any other cons? In my personal opinion, no. The only negatives I've had with this lawn and the lawn down at the bottom have been caused by myself, whether, like I said, you know, I've scarified it too much. I cut this down at 9mm around about a week ago, and there was a space over here where, or this side I think it might have been, I mean, it's hard to tell because it's recovered so well, where it's scalped it ever so slightly, and in this hot weather, it's the last thing you want to do to your space, whereas it's just bounced back, it's recovered on its own. So I'm learning with this lawn at the minute. I'm making mistakes. I'm getting some things right. I'm getting some things wrong. But that's the beauty of, you know, learning your lawn. And that's why I wanted to go with bent fescue in this garden, because ryegrass didn't succeed and this has. And I've learned a lot along the way as to why that's the case, and also what I can do better this year, particularly when it gets to the autumn, to actually make sure this lawn survives a little bit better through the winter and gets to next spring in an even better condition than it currently is now. And one thing just to remember is that this content isn't sponsored. I might do the odd sponsored video where a company sends me something, but the stipulation is always that I give my true opinion, and if I like something, I'll tell you, and if I don't, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you why, or I'll just decide not to share that video. And those sorts of things have happened in, you know, the past 12 months. I've got no products that I'm selling. I don't make anything. I've got absolutely zero bias. I do promote a lot of the Lawn Association stuff, but that's because I've used their grass seed and it was amazing. I used their food and had amazing results from it. So I'm sticking with it again this year because it just makes sense. I go on their YouTube channel every so often and look at their back catalogue of videos and learn a little bit more about grass types, and using those videos, I've learned more than I probably have in the past 5 years within this short 12-month window. So nothing sponsored, no opinions are being swayed by anyone, and it's been great seeing lots of people commenting recently to say they're going with a similar type of grass species because they're sick of their lawn dying over the winter and they want to have similar results to what I have too. So if that's you, boss, and if you're in a position where you're thinking, I don't know if it's to change, then go for it. You're not going to die. Just give it a go. Everything's reversible. And if you hate it next year, just go back to having ryegrass again. A video I do want to make over the next few weeks is a bit of a Q&A, and I want people to ask questions about this lawn in particular and the lawn up at the top, things that they're curious about. And rather than me just getting into the comments and replying to everything, I'll post a video where I answer a lot of the most popular questions. So if you want to just chuck them in the comments section below, I might put a little poll thing up as well to get some people's ideas, and I'll start working on that because I know some people are curious about this sort of lawn or going with this type of lawn and a bit sort of uncertain about taking the plunge. So chuck those in the comments and I'll get back in a video. And yeah, thanks for watching this video today. If you have enjoyed it or found it useful in any kind of way in making a decision yourself, then feel free to give it a like. And if you want to follow along with the journey of this lawn or any other sort of gardening stuff as well, like making raised beds and planters and all sorts of waffle like that, then consider subscribing if you haven't already. The Instagram is in the description below. The TikTok is Novice Gardener Official. And yeah, finally, thanks for watching.